As Music Traveler, we are a company who's been centralizing rehearsal spaces and performance spaces all around the world, really. We started in Vienna, and what the initial idea was basically, if you needed a place where you could rehearse or you wanted to make music, whether you're professional or amateur, you could go to us and you could find a place with a piano or a drum set or an orchestral rehearsal space or anything really. And we've been active for the last few years, and it's been going wonderfully. We've been growing steadily, starting, of course, Vienna and then proceeding to the world. It's actually a video of one of our chief ambassadors. I think some of you may recognize him. Of course, his name is Billy Joel.
Being a musician is tough. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. From the pain of getting to rehearsal, to dealing with neighbors who really don't appreciate you, and suffering through some crappy instruments. Forget about it. Music Traveler makes it easier. Just search, book, and play. Easy, right?
So I hope you could all see the little video that we had here. And basically, essentially, of course, we're there to help music, to help musicians, to help music lovers, to find spaces. But now, of course, things have suddenly turned around and changed, because we have the coronavirus crisis, which has impacted the entire world of music. I don't really need to explain what it is and in which ways, basically in every way. So our first thought at Music Traveler was, how can we help? We have wonderful spaces all over the place. How can we utilize them eventually? But primarily right now, with our wide social media reach and with our wonderful ambassadors who are starting from Billy Joel, as you saw, but also Hans Zimmer, who's one of our investors, Yuja Wang, and on from classical field, from other types of music field. We have wonderful ambassadors to spread the word. We thought, okay, why don't we find a way that we can assist musicians right now in this crisis? And we realized there's one thing that's happening. People have started streaming, and people have started streaming all the time, mostly without thoughts of monetizing. Mostly it's to just spread the good word or remind people I'm still there. And we were thinking, how can we do this so that there's actually a way for the musicians to gain and to benefit? So we're still at very early stages. That's why rather than presenting something, we've quickly put together a little panel to talk about what the possibilities are, what the difficulties are, and what we can do. So what we wanted to build a little bit, and as a special feature, we don't want to pivot or anything. It's something we had in our planning. It's just we're going to fast track it a little bit, and Matthias, of course, wonderfully said he would support us in this with the Karajan Music Institute. So we had this idea to do this, and I'll play you another little video.
We built Music Traveler in order for music to be more accessible, with wonderful ambassadors to spread the word.
The app, the Music Traveler, would be very important.
There is an urgency, there's a need to go and sometimes get to the piano.
I would have been thrilled to have the opportunity to book a room with an instrument.
Something like Music Traveler, of course, allows you the opportunity.
We love the liberty of when we want to practice, and we have that with Music Traveler.
Using spaces to make music in many countries, young and old can unleash their creativity. During the coronavirus pandemic, many musicians are left without an income. With your help and the help of the Karajan Institute, we want to build the feature Music from Home on Music Traveler, where we help musicians to sell tickets for their performances live streamed from their home. By centralizing the live streams, we want to get maximum exposure and income for the musicians. Support us to bring music from our home to your home.
There you go.
$1.
I'm your first investor, man.
So the idea is simple, and it's important to say here, we're not trying to recreate a stream or something ourselves, not at the moment. We're trying to, the idea is more to centralize. People are streaming here, people are streaming there. How can we build something where we really help the community? And that's why we've put together a few wonderful people. I'm very thankful that they could make it. First of all, there's Kevin Kleinman, who is a senior advisor for us, and wonderful man. He's a professor at the Sorbonne. He has a startup himself, which he ran called Melodia, a very, very successful startup in the music tech business. And of course, he was a top executive at Universal Music and Deutsche Grammophon. Then we also have we have Alfredo and Giulio, who are both in business development for us, but also musicians and active musicians. So maybe they can share us some of their insights at the moment. Especially Giulio is very interesting because he is in Rome and in Italy, so he has first-hand experience about all the difficulties that they've had there. And of course, I can see now we have Julia with us. She made it. Julia Ree, my co-founder and our CEO. So basically, essentially, I think we can just ask a few questions of how to do this, because essentially for me, the first problem was, if musicians are streaming and they're not getting any money, you know, how is this going to work in the long run? In the short run, fine, but as well, how do we deal with it? Especially, how long is this going to last? And this is the big question. Of course, nobody has an exact answer, but there are predictions, and those predictions are not that great. And perhaps if Kevin is here, we can have a few words from him. Well, Kevin with us, we actually had a great brainstorming session. Kevin with us yesterday shared a paper from the MIT, which is obviously one of the most reliable sources who've analyzed the current situation. And with all the analysis, basically this paper was saying that this could easily last up to 1.5 years. Not exactly in the form it is, but the prediction is that there would be a shutdown, then it would reopen again, there would be another shutdown. Concerts it's very possibly that they will only go on for a certain while, and only with certain restrictions. So that, of course, is a very, very large impact and very, very difficult for us. I would love to know, actually, from Giulio, how is it for you in Italy? How is it for you? What's, you know, you've been hit very hard. Can you maybe say a few words?
Yeah, at first, hello everyone. Aleksey already introduced me. I'm with Music Traveler since a bit, and I'm taking care of the business development in Italy. And in here, the situation is kind of strange. This means that as is by you, I guess, but we're postponing the coming back to life in certain ways, week by week or month by month. The point is that at this point, we're not talking to go back on what life was, but to go on what life is going to be. That's why we are here, I guess, and that's why we thought about music from home. The point is that how to go back or actually go on to live music entertainment, or actually the crowded entertainment in the next short or long term. In here we are getting quite positive, actually, because we are really thinking about the local commerce, the local entertainment. We really need, I guess, to take care about the local entertainment and the global entertainment. Obviously, Italy is kind of the perfect worst country to let something like coronavirus happen, because we are full of tourists the whole year. So we will be hit very hard this summer, and till October is gonna be very hard for the whole country and for tourism. This is the same for music industry, music live industry, because we're not gonna have foreigners, musicians coming, tours coming for the next, I guess, 6, 10, maybe 12 months. So we're talking about a whole year, but we can go back on local. So a lot of small companies are trying to figure out how to work, and the chance to have something small open again on May, because the lockdown is the end of the lockdown is it was postponed yesterday until May. So the 1st May, the 2nd May, the lockdown probably will be over, but the government have the chance to postpone again until July. So we don't know when it's going to end, but we are trying to find out solutions, and we're trying to make some network. So I just want to give you a couple of examples. There is a promoters company and booking company that is named DNA. They represent a lot of pop and rock artists all over the world, and they represent them obviously also in here in Italy. They had a lot of shows that were booked, or they were ready to go on until July or until August, and they are obviously being cancelled or postponed to the next year or maybe December. But they basically said to everyone that they can ask for money back, and the half of that money back will go to, DNA will put on top the half of that money to help some associations or foundations that help the industry in this specific strange period. The second example that I want to give to you is something that I read actually this morning, so it's fresh new. The whole live entertainment industry, I'm talking about the producers, the workers, the light engineers, audio engineers, riders and runners and production managers, whatever, they create a brand new association that is dedicated to the country. So I specifically work in production, and so I work with big festivals and companies that used to hit big shows all over the country, and not only, also all over Europe. And we all workers at this point, just because there are no live shows, we are with any job, so we are off the economy. The point is that we have some specific we are professional in some ways. So for example, I used to work usually as a production manager or a production associate, but the way how I do my job, I can also help, for example, to build a hospital. Just because I used to set a stage, it doesn't mean that I cannot help building a hospital. If I have some colleagues that used to hit some social campaigns for, crowdfunding campaigns for, some festivals, or early bird campaigns for some festivals, they may help in promote and raise some money for the research for the coronavirus. So we're trying, we said to the country, hey guys, we are ready, we have nothing to do at this point, use our proficiency to make the things go faster. So this is the point right now. Last thing that I want to say is that obviously everything that had to happen until August or probably till October is obviously postponed or cancelled. So all the summer festivals that had to happen till August or September are postponed to the next year, and all the outdoor venues that usually are set up during summer in Italy are obviously probably postponed, but we are waiting for the government to say something until May. So the thing that I want to say by the Italians is that we need to find a way to go through it, and it's not something easy to say, obviously, because the market at this point, especially for live, is definitely locked down. And I heard that Spotify is not getting good in this period, because for some reasons the streamings of Spotify are just getting down. I don't know why, but
That's
I
right.
heard some colleagues that was saying something like that. So we just need to find different ways that probably are long-term ways, but this doesn't mean that it's not impossible or worthless. I mean, people still needs to have fun. People still needs to enjoy music, to enjoy something together. Also, crowded places maybe are not real, they will be virtual, but we need to find a way to make these things happen. And I think that the only way to do this is together. We're all human. I'm from Italy, Lexi from Austria, Kevin that joined right now is from France, but we all have the same need. We need to have fun. Let's make people have fun. Different ways, but let's make it fun.
Exactly. And what we are really trying to find is a format of a personal live stream from home, monetized for the musicians. But of course, there are many questions about how this could work. We don't have the answers yet. That's why we would love to find those answers from you in a minute. We have Julia here. I don't know, is Julia already on? I see her screen, and I see her microphone muted. But I'm not sure if she's not responding. I guess she is in New York right now, also with terrible internet, even though she has top internet from home. So that's a bit of a difficulty. Maybe until we have Julia back, Kevin, I gave you a fabulous introduction, but I think
you missed it.
you missed our fabulous introduction.
Thank you.
I
don't know if you can speak at all about the forecasts that I wanted to talk
yes,
about.
I spoke briefly about the forecasts, which are not great. Maybe you can just
I would just like to share with everybody. There was a very good article that appeared, was done by researchers at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Boston, which was published in the MIT Technology Review. By the writer was Gideon Lichfield, and it was called "We're Not Going Back to Normal." And of course, it was not just dealing with the concert business, but it's very, very relevant to what we're doing. The MIT researchers, and you can see that, you can read yourself, but in essence, what they're saying is that no matter what happens, the curve goes down. As long as there is no vaccine available, there will always be, the virus will always be active, and the idea of social distancing will be necessary, both from a legal standpoint, but also very important, we have to think of the psychological standpoint. And our business, people coming in large numbers, sitting very close to each other, there will be very big psychological factors, even if, imagine, government would say, well, we remove all confinement and social distancing, which probably won't happen. So that poses another challenge. And according to their forecasts, we can't imagine to get back to normal of any type before 18 months from now. So that would mean September 2021, October 2021. Until that time, and until there's a vaccine, we need to find alternatives, and we need to find different things. And I should say also that in the music world, we've been in this situation before, in a certain sense. If you read the biographies of artists during the Blitz in London, when London was under attack, they moved down into bunkers in the underground, in the London Metro. Myra Hess, the great pianist, was giving concerts almost nightly during that time. So we have to say, where's our bunker? Our bunkers today are home. So to me, it makes the most sense that concerts will take place from the place where we feel secure for the time being. And indeed, technology allows us to transmit concerts. But again, we're in the stage now, I think so many musicians didn't want to ask for money, because in this crisis, it was seen as would be not seen well. But at a certain point, musicians need to be remunerated. And the concert business has to shift to take into account the reality, both the scientific reality, the psychological reality. And we have to create a platform that will allow musicians to be remunerated and the public to pay for something which is essential. I mean, music hasn't been deemed in countries an essential service, but in fact, it is an essential service, as wartime has shown and history has shown us. So I think that we have the means today to do it. And if in the Second World War in London, they could play concerts in the underground while the bombs were falling and rubble and dust was falling down on them, I think we can arrange concerts within our own home and let people pay with all the technology that is available to us.
So basically, of course, the asking people to stream, this is the difficulty, and this is what we're trying to understand. Asking people, at the moment, a lot of musicians are streaming. Now, most musicians are doing it for free. Some musicians are doing it as a sign of solidarity, or like I mentioned before, just so that people say, oh, remember me, I'm still here. Some concert halls are doing some live streams. Some people are doing some crowdfunding things. Some people are doing some, but basically there is no point of unanimity. There's nothing to centralize. But also the question very much is what could something like this look like where people would actually pay for it, but even if it's just a little bit. Maybe Alfredo, do you have any thoughts of that? You've tried some live streaming yourself as a pianist. What are the difficulties with it? Maybe you can
Yes.
just a few words.
Hello, everyone. First, to follow up on Alexei's question, one of the challenges that I see everybody trying to figure out in the past couple of weeks is how to deliver quality content. Everybody has gotten used to HD 4K videos to stream off of YouTube. In 2 seconds, anybody can have 4K video on their devices, and they expect some similar content from the streamers. So part of the challenges that we're facing is how can a musician deliver a similar quality, maybe not, of course, not the same, but up to a certain level that it sounds good, that it looks good, and that it does bring people together. And how can the tools that already exist be combined? There are platforms that allow for streaming there are tools that allow for streaming on all platforms at the same time, but they're still a little bit rudimentary and aimed mainly at the gaming community. So sound quality is not that big of a concern. So if I try to go on one of these platforms and stream a piano, which is one of the most complex sounds that one can attempt to record,
Violin is not easy either, I tell you.
Exactly, yeah. But due to the size of the instrument, already it overwhelms the microphone, any microphone of a cell phone right away. It will be distorted. It is very difficult to handle. So how can this be solved? So the platform has to provide the technical capability of handling high bandwidth so that the quality of the audio and quality of the video are good. But it also has to provide the possibility for the user to create in a simple way without having too much of a learning curve, how to provide this stream to the audiences in a way that allows the musician to sell tickets, or a combined promoter. Doesn't necessarily have to be just a musician. It can also be a concert promoter.
Absolutely. But I think, of course, maybe what do you think of maybe there's one possibility we were thinking about is also to provide instructions
Yes.
as well, to provide a platform where we can really inform people of how to stream, the different possibilities on different levels.
Yes.
And of course, this brings us also to the question, maybe the final question of today. I don't know if we still have. I'm still hoping to get a little bit of Julia.
We all are.
We're all hoping and praying, but really, Julia has had a very, very tough time with the internet in New York, and as you know, New York has been hit so badly in so many ways. Anyway, so the question of monetization, because one of the biggest problems is musicians. I believe musicians shouldn't go begging. Musicians provide a service that is actually really important for the world right now, and also fans and concert goers are used to buying tickets for concerts. Just because they cannot go to concerts now doesn't mean that we cannot create something that they would enjoy and pay for, even maybe a structured system. So the question really to put out there, what system would work? What kind of format would work for people to want to pay tickets, and what kind of ticketing system would make the public, the online public, thankful and not donate, but to pay a ticket price, maybe from minimum 1 or 2 euros to anything one wants to pay. I would love to, we would all love to actually discuss those questions with you. We're going to be on Slack, so also at the after party, we're going to join and party at 7 o'clock, right?
Yeah,
So,
great.
Again, music from home at the moment, it's very much a concept that we are filing on in detail the next days. We do want to move very much forward, but also very, very essential at this time for the music community is to stick together, because together we are strong, and together we can form wonderful partnerships between each other, because we all have one piece that the other one doesn't have, whether it's the streaming technology of one person or the social media reach of the other person, the ideas here, the ideas there. And in during times of crisis, I think the best thing is to come together over me, in the words of the Beatles.
Oh, so nice, Aleksey. That's really a hopeful ending to this very interesting discussion. So thank you very much for bringing so many people into.
Thank you so much.